From a 911 dispatcher to leading the police department of a small central Illinois community, I sit down with Clinton's police chief in this week's Chat with the Chief. Joining us now is Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers. Thank you so much for making the drive up to Champaign.
Well, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure to be here.
Good. Okay, so introduce us and tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, Ben Lowers. I'm born and raised in Clinton, actually, where I work today. A native of DeWitt County, Illinois. Grew up there, a very close family. Kind of came up with an agriculture background. Most of my family is in agriculture and whatnot. And that was kind of my avenue starting out. That's growing up involved in agriculture and livestock. Went to college at Lakeland College. And that was kind of my focus. And it was in early adulthood, I kind of took a transition to law enforcement. Had a gentleman, several influences, but one in particular that grew up almost like a second father to me, was a special agent with the state police, and always had quite an interest in his work and an interest in law enforcement. And so in early adulthood, I was one of those cases that kind of completely shifted gears of focus of what I wanted to do. And I began my career through just circumstances with the Mason County Sheriff's Office over in Havana, Illinois, kind of the west central part of the state. Started out as a 911 dispatcher and a county jail correctional officer, which I think was very instrumental and made a great impact then when I went to the road as a sworn law enforcement officer with the Havana Police Department in 1999. Spent about 2 years with them, and also served simultaneously as a part-time deputy with the Mason County Sheriff's Department while I was there. In early 2001, I had the opportunity to come home, shall we say, and the older I got, the more I appreciated family and home, and so in 2001, I had the opportunity to come back to the Clinton Police Department and serve my home community. So I've been with Clinton since January of 2001. Started off as a patrol officer, of course, and then rose through the ranks. In 2003, I became a sergeant, kind of an administrative sergeant under Chief Reedy at the time. In 2012, I was promoted to deputy chief, and then in 2013, appointed to chief of police with the retirement of Chief Reedy. So it's been a great career with Clinton. I'm very passionate about law enforcement, but also of serving my home community, my hometown.
Very cool. Wow, lots of experience. Talk a little bit more about your passion and what the police department's working on right now.
Really the whole community policing aspect, and that's not new. I know right here in Champaign was kind of one of the forefront agencies of community policing back in the 90s. And one of the biggest things that we have focused on in my tenure in the last 12 years as chief is our focus in the school district. Bridging that gap between an all too often critical society and our local community. As we were talking before the interview, we kind of stand by, there's a great big ocean out there, but we're responsible for this small puddle. And so focusing on that small puddle and what we can do for the future generation. We're very active. The DARE program has been in the Clinton School District since the early 90s. I myself am a DARE instructor, and utilize that opportunity to connect with our kids. And as we were talking about, kind of humanizing the badge and starting at that young age through the DARE program in the 5th grade. We then introduced an awareness program starting in our junior high PE curriculum. And then on into the high school, where we spend ample time with our driver's ed classes and making them aware of police interaction, things to expect and whatnot. And yeah, so just engaging with the community as much as anything. Over the last couple years here, with the introduction of the Safety Act here in Illinois, the no cash bail has been a significant impact to law enforcement in the way that we police moving forward. I'll be the first to tell you that I was not a huge proponent of the no cash bail. I certainly understand the spirit of it, but the reduction in incarceration has had an impact in our smaller communities. It's not only about incarcerating those doing wrong, but rather also protecting those that are law-abiding citizens. And so, we've kind of had to take a different look at things. And so in doing so, we have certainly embraced and are really proactive in the deflection aspect. and working with those community stakeholders and resources to try to minimize those individuals getting introduced into the justice system by looking at the foundation of what is putting them there. And, you know, so much of that oftentimes is co-occurring with mental health, substance abuse, things of that nature.
Very cool. And wrapping things up, you have a upcoming event that you would like to remind people about.
We do. This coming weekend is the Clinton's annual Apple and Pork Festival. I believe it's the 57th annual Apple and Pork Festival, and it's an exciting time for our community. It started off as the and it still is the fundraiser for our local DeWitt County Museum and C.H. Moore Homestead. But it really, at this time, encompasses our whole town. It's a huge craft and food fair. And when we talk about a community of 7,200 people welcoming tens of thousands of visitors over a 2-day period, it's an exciting time for us. It's great for all of our local organizations. Most of them are able to do their annual fundraising in a matter of a 2-day fair. And so we welcome everybody to Clinton for our Apple and Pork Festival.
Very fun. Well, thanks again for being here on the morning show with us.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Well, we are going to get to know Chief Flowers more over on our WCIA Plus app. We'll see you there.